Good day, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Star Trek Online. My name is Mbaglo, and with me once again is...
Megalomaniac, hello internet.
Good day. So, last time we did, we did...
Pirate Picard.
Yeah, we did a pretty interesting Foundry mission.
Yeah, that one was awesome.
This time, we're going to do another one that I had noticed while wandering around. It sounds kind of interesting. It's called The Banshee and the Borg.
I really hope this involves a crossover with DC Comics villain Silver Banshee. It probably doesn't.
It is probably not.
I mean, not that would be the weirdest thing Star Trek's ever crossed over with.
No, that Green Lantern Star Trek crossover that IDW did was kind of weird and ended pretty bizarrely.
Was that? Yeah, I guess that was IDW's publishing end.
Yeah, that's also the part of it that may actually be the most weird part of it, that it was IDW that did it. But yeah, that series, I kind of like that series, but I don't think they necessarily did. I liked it, but there was aspects of both sides that I think that they didn't quite take advantage of.
I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, and the way it ends was super weird and actually kind of fascinating for what those types of crossovers normally do.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to investigate a disabled Borg sphere.
I mean,
because this always goes well for us.
Yeah. Also, we haven't investigated tons already.
Oh, it's not a Borg sphere.
Oh, that's weird.
50,000-year-old thing that looks like a Borg sphere.
Oh, that's let's warp inside and see what exactly it is then.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. So on the news front, did we not just talk about this last week? Or just a few weeks ago?
I think it was either last week or the week before.
I think it was the week before.
Hey, the skill system's archaic and they should make a new one. Well, guess what?
Talking about what is Cryptic going to do with the new season, and turns out that they kind of sort of announced season 11.5 is coming in the spring. And with it, the headline feature is going to be a rebuild of the normal skill system. And kind of like how we were assuming, they're basically going to be backporting the specialization system to the rest of the leveling tree.
Yeah, I mean, what it basically ends up being is just kind of like a talent tree from, WoW or insert other MMO here. Well, I shouldn't say WoW anymore because WoW's is a lot more casual. Are we in different?
We are in different zones.
Whatever, we'll deal with it.
We'll just deal with it. But yeah, the new skill system is basically going to be just like the specialization system, where instead of you earning and spending skill points, you earn XP like you already are, which gets you levels like you already are. And each time you gain a level, you gain space and ground skill points, and then you
then use to get one of several choices of abilities.
That's right. And the abilities are separated by basically by career, which again is not to say that you're limited to what your career is. It's just saying that regardless of your captaincy type, you can pick up tactical skills, engineering skills, and if you pick up a certain amount of them,
just like you can now, basically.
Yeah, basically just like you can now, and basically much like how with the current setup, if you pick up certain tiers, then you gain certain special abilities, and the same things basically happen, and really, it's essentially the specialization system on that front.
Mm-hmm.
But
whatever works.
Yeah, whatever works, and it looks nice.
It's a lot less bizarre and arcane than the current system.
Yeah, Cryptic also says that they are sorting out some of the some of them. So like some of the abilities or some of the skills that existed before are going to be combined. For example, there's no they don't believe there's a requirement anymore for a separate plus energy weapon and plus torpedo damage skill. So those ones are just going to be combined into one. There were all of the ground skills which increase like your various other abilities. Like for example, for me on engineering, like I have skills which will here's the one set of skills which boost all my turrets. Here's the one set of skills which boosts all my generators. Here's the one set of skills which boosts these things. And Cryptic is also going to be just combining all of those into just one skill. So if you boost this one skill and you get better in everything when it comes to your ground kits.
Yeah, they're also doing one more currently there's like 2 different abilities for boosting science holds and science power drain type stuff.
Yeah.
One for boosting your offense, one for boosting your defense. Now it's just you take it, you boost both the offense and the defense separately, or not separately rather.
And there are some of those skills that they're getting rid of entirely, but they've said that in those cases the abilities or the benefits are going to be...
they're getting rid of the attack pattern skills, but they're just going to straight up make attack patterns work as if you had previously had them. Yeah. Top level skills.
So the intent is they're saying that you shouldn't necessarily lose power, and the odds are you'll gain it because of the way they're doing some of these amalgamations. Like for example, I don't bother spending any skill points on the plus attack pattern ones because the way I play, I don't find it useful.
Whereas I do because I use like 3 different attack patterns.
Yeah. And likewise.
Also, I don't know where you are in this map, but one of these rooms, the engineering, is like seizure bait.
Yeah, I'm past that. I'm getting the information from the data console. Which now I need to do more power rerouting. But yeah, I'm very interested in seeing them do more with seeing what they do with this system. They say they're going to be putting it onto their test servers relatively soon, so I'm looking forward to at least taking a look at them. And yeah, I've never really liked too much the way the system is right now.
I don't think anybody does.
It's still better than it used to be. Like the way that skill system was when the game first launched was real janky and pretty bad. It definitely made you have to specialize a lot more than you do right now. Like it did things like you had to, well, not necessarily had, but the way the skill systems upgraded abilities, like some of the different skills you could put points into were to make you better at specific ship chassis. So, if you were going to fly assault cruisers, you had a whole skill that you had to put points into to be better at being a assault cruiser captain, but those points didn't apply at all if you were flying a star cruiser or an escort or a battle cruiser.
It makes sense that they would have gotten rid of that.
Yes,
when they went free to play and they wanted to encourage people to buy more.
Yes. Oh, did you finish?
Yeah, I finished the ground part.
Oh,
so
okay.
Hopefully when we go to the...
I'm just about finished it.
Okay.
I guess you managed to get slightly ahead of me.
I might have just killed the Gorn faster.
Yeah, that's pretty likely. All right, now I'm done the ground phase.
So hopefully we will go into the same map again.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like what they're talking about so far, and I'll look forward to seeing how they're going to implement it.
Yep. It'll be interesting to check it out.
Mm-hmm. There wasn't
Like I said, just as long as it's something less arcane. It's just confusing, basically.
I mean, I'm not going to say that it's arcane and confusing. It's just that it's not efficient, and like there are better ways to do what they are trying to do, and they just kind of realized that with their specialization system. And really, like, I kind of expected that when they released the specialization system, I kind of expected that they're probably just checking something out, and then they will implement this for more stuff.
Is Gorn Sherworth threatening?
Yeah, that even with the boosting for there being the two of us, that was basically just a.
They were unfortunately frigates, and
unfortunately
we have Scatter Volley and
Fire at Will. Well, I didn't use Fire at Will, but yeah, if you use Scatter
I
Volley.
sure use Scatter Volley.
Yeah, I imagine you did. But there wasn't anything else in the news for this past week, if I remember.
No, that's a pretty big drop.
That was a pretty big drop.
Actually, I was vaguely surprised that wasn't like the center of a new expansion, but
yeah, I could see that. But they're just going to make it season 11.5. Which also was an interesting thing for them to just sort of mention offhand for like the announcement of the updated skill system, because they just sort of threw in that it's going to be for season 11.5 like right at the very end without ever having said anything about season 11.5 yet. And the way they said it, they're basically saying that. So basically for like the last 2-3 years, Cryptic has had a roughly 4-month cycle for their let's just call it major patches, which basically it coincides with the length of each lockbox batch, and so they usually tie like seasons and half seasons to their lockbox cycles. And what they're basically saying is that the lockbox cycle, which just started for the anniversary event, is going to. So they separated us again. That lockbox cycle is going to persist, and we're going to get season 11.5 after it, which is interesting because normally right now would have been the 0.5 based on previous season releases.
Yeah, but stuff could have happened behind the scenes to where it wasn't in their budget, or or maybe something getting that to work just took more time than they were expecting, or something like that.
It's quite likely, and like I'm not bothered by it or anything. I just think it's interesting. It's an interesting decision that they made, but regardless, I'm still looking forward to it.
I'm wondering if they're going to be doing more featured episodes before 11.5 launches or not.
I expect they will. I'm pretty sure that. So this week released the last regular reward for Time and Tide. I'm pretty sure that if not next week, then maybe the week after we're going to be seeing a new featured episode.
That'll be good.
It would be good, because like they're with what they just did with the story, they're not going to have that. They're not going to sit on that for like a while.
Yeah.
I imagine that 11 point, like they're going to have some of these events lead up to season 11.5.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if we'll expect new, like either new queues or a new battle zone or something too.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. They really need to. They really need to adjust the way they handle queues in the game, though. Like I hope that's what they do for. I hope that's another one of the big things to do in season 11.5, but I really doubt it. Oh well. Like it'll be nice, but we'll see.
Yep. Probably like what, April-ish?
Yeah. Yeah, it should be
I think like the last time they said, like last year when they said, "Hey, we're releasing this in spring," it ended up being around April.
It'll, based on their usual release pattern. I'd have to look at the dates again just to to do the calculations, and I might sort of put my theory in here as an annotation later. But just off the top of my head, calculations, it'll probably be about the end of April, I would imagine.
Of course, it does assume there's, like some grand plan behind it, not just a when it's done type thing.
Yeah, but
like I said, I don't know how Cryptic works.
Yeah,
on the inside.
It's been a long time, and they've been doing these cycles for a long time. So I imagine that they probably wouldn't be like even announcing it if they weren't expecting it to be part of that cycle. Which, in fact, could even be why season 11.5 was delayed one cycle. Well, I say delayed. It may not have been. It's like, again, this is just kind of weird because we're off the cycle by one. But yeah. There's some interesting logs.
Yep, I finished this ground part, so let me know when you are.
Oh, I just finished it as well.
Excellent. It's basically another ancient lost civilization type thing.
Yeah. Which, from the looks of things, had a run-in with the Borg, which might have been a little different from the way they are now. Actually, I think my favorite of the Borg origin stories is the one.
Yeah, there's like 12 of them out there now.
Yeah, I think my favorite one of them is the one that was in the Star Trek manga, which is also kind of a strange thing to exist at all.
No, it's not.
I need to get more volumes of that. I only have the first one, and it's pretty good.
There's a I don't know if it's technically a manga, but along the same lines, there's one for Sherlock, like the BBC show.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's, are you sure it's actually for Sherlock? Because I would imagine they probably have a bunch about Sherlock.
No, like on the cover, it is definitely Cumberbatch.
Okay.
I don't know if it's from Japan or if it's from like Korea or something like that, or if it's just American or British thing done in that style. But yeah.
That's amazing. But yeah, the one in the Star Trek manga is interesting because it's basically Kirk gets sent back in time to because he's kidnapped by this time traveling race who needs his help to solve the princess of this civilization, and she has like some weird medical condition, and they basically do something with like cybernetics, and when they get sent back to their time, it basically shows that she becomes the Borg Queen. It's real weird.
I would just like, I'm just going to take, like, I don't know the specifics, but I'm going to take away from that is that Kirk basically kind of accidentally created the Borg Queen by boning her, as Kirk does.
Sure, let's just go with that one. I need to pull that book out again and read it anyway. That one was pretty good, but I think my favorite story in that whole one though is the one where the Enterprise runs up against a squad of child soldiers who are piloting Gundams.
Because that's a thing that exists in Star Trek.
That one's pretty great. There's also one where the crew is being like affected by something which is like bringing out like really strong emotions in everyone, and that one has some really hilarious bits with Spock, which are pretty good. Yeah,
I haven't ever read the manga.
Yeah, I need to get more of them. Like, there's, I think, 3 volumes that are original series and 3 volumes that are Next Generation.
Nice.
And I need to get the rest of them because they're really good.
There's of course the infamous 2 of them actually, Star Trek and X-Men crossovers.
Right. Yeah.
One being original series and one being Next Generation, and I'm pretty sure they are the Next Generation one references the original series one.
Nice. I should probably get the Star Trek Doctor Who crossover that IDW has done.
Yeah, I've read the second half of that, and I didn't realize I was only bringing the second half because it opened in this like the way it worked is it opens with stuff happening, but that's a thing that constantly happens in Doctor Who. So I just figured, okay, the comic's just mimicking Doctor Who. It wasn't until like I was halfway through that part of it that no, this is just the second half of this thing. Oops.
Whoops.
But I liked the half that I read. I should probably get the other half at some point.
Yeah, probably.
They did, of course, the logical thing of teaming up the Borg with Doctor Who's Proto-Borg, the Cybermen.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Though I don't think the Cybermen did, like, big assimilation stuff until the new series. Like, they did, but not in the same way that, like, the Borg do. Also, I gotta say, this planet we're on totally reminds me of Korriban from Old Republic. Like, big desert and then ancient ruins everywhere while horrible creatures try to kill you in between.
Targs aren't that horrible.
No, they're not chlor slugs. Those are freaking horrifying.
Yeah.
You should like throw up a picture of a chlor slug just to illustrate for the audience.
Yeah, I probably will. There will probably have been one at this point.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I think those are the only goofy Star Trek crossovers. Well, there's the IDW like multi-thing crossovers they've done.
Yeah, but those ones aren't like,
those are more thematic.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't read one of IDW's of those in a long time, but the ones of them that I have read have been like calling them crossovers is kind of a misnomer. Because it's
more like event comic type things,
I
guess.
There is a overarching story which is owned by someone, which is usually one of IDW's owned series, and it just happens that they have many things which are which are part of which basically have a short one-off in the other books, and then it just sort of cuts back to the main book and everything else is ignored.
Which kills me because they had the perfect opportunity to make a Transformer that turned into the Enterprise or something like that.
Yeah, they could have done some neat things and decided to just not. Oh well.
I know one of the more recent ones, which I don't think involved Star Trek, was the overarching story was the X-Files and how all these other things were actually happening in the world of the X-Files and were just hidden because conspiracies.
That's pretty good.
So the Autobot Decepticon war happened in the shadows because of the X-Files. I think Ghostbusters was part of that too. I forget what else they have at this point.
The Transformers being a hidden thing in that world sounds like the most illogical bit of it all. Ghostbusters, sure, that is an X-File, no doubt, but
it was a specific version. I think it was the version of Transformers that happened back in the Civil War or something like that.
That actually
wasn't the mainline, the quote-unquote main IDW Transformer comics.
That actually reminds me that I should probably check out their version of Transformers and G.I. Joe, which, I actually thought for the longest time that it was them just reprinting the old stuff because IDW has been reprinting the old stuff. But no, it is actually them doing a new series intentionally drawn like the old stuff, and that's great.
Yep. They're also doing a Street Fighter G.I. Joe crossover.
Oh man, that sounds great.
Where I think literally the plot is that I want to say it's Destro and either Sagat or Bison just get together and hold a fighting tournament.
I guess actually I should rephrase that. Is it their G.I. Joe or is it?
I don't know. I don't know if it's I don't think it'll tie specifically into their continuity of G.I. Joe.
Yeah,
just because I don't think they generally do that with their crossover stuff.
I mean, I know that they use their G.I. Joe for their infestation crossovers.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you know what? Their G.I. Joe for that is actually kind of appropriate. I'm just not a big fan of IDW's G.I. Joe.
That's because IDW's G.I. Joe is well, more specifically, I don't. From what I understand, you I've never really gotten into the G.I. Joe as far as comics goes, but how do I put this? IDW's G.I. Joe is supposed, or from what I understand, more in tone with the comics than the old cartoon was.
I'm not going to say that I am overly familiar with the old comics. It's just all the bits of the old comics that I remember having seen paint them in a light which is not that dissimilar from the old cartoons, or actually no. Let me rephrase that. What I remember of the old comics, what little bits and pieces of them that I've seen, paint them more like Silver Age and superhero comics.
I think it might have just been a standards and practices thing too back then.
It could have been. It could have been. I again, I'm not going to say that I've read that much of all the G.I. Joe comics. It's just I know that I don't. My mental image of G.I. Joe has kind of always been them being on the more not necessarily goofy, but just it being more superhero-y. Like, more lighthearted.
Less serious.
Yeah. And I just don't like... what I've read of the IDW line, which admittedly I stopped reading it like 4-ish years ago. It was just far too serious for my taste. Like, I didn't like it. I don't know. I'll at least check out that Street Fighter crossover, because that actually sounds kind of hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't remember if they're doing any other. Well, I know they have other stuff. Like, they're doing, much like Hasbro announced for their movies, they're doing, was it Ron the Space Knight and Micronauts?
Right.
I don't know if they're going to try to cross those over with the other, G.I. Joe and Transformer stuff.
I keep actually forgetting that, like, they... Looks like you've managed to finish that just slightly faster than me.
Oh.
Some of the like, triggers weren't necessarily hitting correctly for me either.
Yeah, one of them I had to kind of walk back.
But the one thing I keep forgetting about, like, that stuff is that they want to make a live-action Mask movie, and that's
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I want... If they
I'm not going to say it's going to be good, but that would be awesome.
If they, like, keep themselves in the same tone as those live-action G.I. Joe movies, I think I will like it.
Yeah, see, that's why I liked the G.I. Joe movies, because they were very much in the tone of, like, the 80s cartoon.
Yeah.
If not slightly more serious, but...
They were slightly more serious, but...
It was still... Cobra had a really stupid plan to take over the world.
They were slightly more serious, but they were still done in the sense of, like... How to put this? They were slightly more serious, but they were, like, slightly more serious in the sense that, like, it was still kind of like your typical, like, 90s action movie.
Oh yeah, I mean, the first one, the plot literally involved nanomachines.
Like, you could have taken the G.I. Joe license and probably have painted it as, like, Die Hard.
And the second one had Bruce Willis in it.
And the second one happened to have Bruce Willis in it. Go figure. But, like, you could have totally seen it as something like that. And I actually thought that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
That actually worked really well. And I'm kind of hoping that if they actually do make a live-action Mask movie, that they take that same tack with it, because that will be great.
Yeah, and see, the only thing, because they're doing this, the idea of this is they're doing a shared universe, much in the vein of, like, Marvel. But what gets me is the things they mentioned there, not including Transformers with that. And it just seems to me like the big marquee thing to do this shared universe thing that would actually, like, put people's butts in seats would be G.I. Joe Transformers.
Yeah.
Because that's, like, the two most recognizable things there. Those Transformers movies, quality that I think aside, do make tons of money.
I am so shocked that they have not done a G.I. Joe Transformers crossover movie yet. Like,
mostly... Well, I think mostly because those G.I. Joe movies, they did okay, but not super great. I really like them, admittedly, but they, like, financially, I don't think they did that well.
Mm.
Damn it, Q.
Yeah. This is all Q's fault. Actually, it's probably not, but still. Also, does this layout remind you of something?
Kinda?
Yeah, this is basically the same ship internal as from last week.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't notice that. Maybe it's a prefab.
Yeah, I'm positive it is.
Also, going for a super obscure reference here, but we're dealing with the villain from the old 90s kids show Mystic Knights of Tir na Nog. For people who don't know what that is, it was basically a Western attempt to do Power Rangers without having to borrow Japanese footage through the view of like Irish mythology.
I remember it being kind of interesting.
It's
maybe not that
interesting.
great, but it was kind of interesting.
It had an issue where you were doing a sword and sorcery show with dudes with swords and stuff, but not being able to show people hitting other people with swords for some reason.
Yeah,
probably standards and practices. Why Power Rangers could get away with that, I don't know. But so all of their melee weapons just shot, whatever element they were part of. She's telling me that Q is a trickster and does not honor his agreements.
Whoever could have foreseen that?
Also, doesn't this technically break the agreement of them using a canonical character?
Yeah, because this isn't even them pretending to be
another Q,
a different Q. This is this is actually the Q, which isn't even in the game. Because I don't know if folks remember. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this at one point, but the Q, which is actually in the game at the moment, isn't supposed to be the Q. It's his son,
Q Junior.
Yeah, Q2.
So clearly this is part of the IDW Star Trek D&D crossover.
Yeah, clearly.
I don't know if they ever did that one. I think it might have been... I know the second... Because the first big crossover they did was Infestation, which was like zombie apocalypse type stuff. I know the second one involved the Lovecraft Cthulhu mythos type stuff. I know that one involved D&D. I don't know if it involves Star Trek.
Did that one? I don't think it did. Alright, so somehow, right as I ended this stuff, you phased into my map.
Cool.
Good job.
Wackiness with the Foundry and multiplayer.
Yeah, I don't know if Cryptic has done something recently to make co-op Foundry more broken, because it worked pretty fine for a while, and now it hasn't.
Well, what I'm wondering is if it's something that happened in the Foundry, or if it's just something that needs to be set within the mission itself.
Maybe? I don't know. You also might be in a different space zone.
We are. Or I am.
Alright, whatever. Let's just finish this map.
It's where it's like every other map.
Yeah. Like, I think this would have... If you didn't somehow warp into my ground map after you finished, you probably would be here right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Foundry missions.
Though now it seems to have broken. It's saying scan the energy source, and I did, and nothing else is happening.
Uh-oh.
So what I'm going to do... warp out and warp back in.
Sure. We'll see. We'll see where that sends you. Hopefully not too far.
Hopefully not. I mean, with luck, maybe I'll just end up in your map.
Yeah. That would be pretty nice.
While I'm waiting, I can look up ITW crossover events. Okay, so now I need to be into the sphere, so I'm going to have to go through every single map, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this will be fun. I'll see you in like 5 minutes. Let's see, so Infestation was a zombie one that was G.I. Joe, Transformers, Ghostbusters, and Star Trek.
Okay, yep. That sounds about right.
Infestation 2 was the Cthulhu one that was G.I. Joe, Transformers, Heart of Steel, which I think is the 18th century, like, Civil War era one.
Okay.
Dungeons & Dragons, Eberron, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Alright. I know I read bits of that one, but not the whole one.
Also apparently 30 Days of Night.
Alright. Okay, yeah, sure.
Oh god, they've done a lot of comics.
Yeah, like, I actually sometimes, like, I frequently forget that they actually have a lot of stuff under their belt. Like, they actually seem to be the go-to guys for anyone who wants to do a tie-in comic series.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's just like a short thing, like, they seem to do a lot of like third-party tie-ins.
Yep. Yeah, they're the ones who do the ongoing Godzilla comics too, which have been varying levels of interesting.
Right, they are, aren't they?
That's something that needs to cross over Transformers or Star Trek. Maybe both.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Actually, what would be the most logical one would be Godzilla and Transformers.
Oh yeah, because then you get the image of Devastator fighting Godzilla.
Or you just somehow get Grimlock to do it.
That would work too.
Yeah. Or they have a Mechagodzilla like, and it's Trypticon. Trypticon.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I actually have a T-shirt that is in the style of the American 2014 Godzilla movie, but it's Trypticon instead of Godzilla.
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, you've got a lot of maps to go through.
Yep.
Like, do you have to redo the stuff, or
No, I have to redo the stuff. I just have to go into the map, and then it's automatically completed.
jeez,
And then I just leave. I'm to the point where I'm beaming down to the planet.
all right. Yeah, I'm just sitting here at the moment.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. Although I'm almost kind of thinking maybe I should just carry on, and you can pop in whenever you do.
Yeah, just keep going. I'll get there. So yeah, Conspiracy was the X-Files one.
All right.
That was... I guess typing X-Files Conspiracy isn't really going to get me info about that particular...
Searching X-Files Conspiracy. How many possible hits can you get?
That was Ghostbusters, Ninja Turtles, The Crow...
The Crow.
and Transformers.
Okay. That is an eclectic mix.
Yeah, but it's all stuff that'd be like urban legend stuff.
Okay, sure.
That was 2013. I don't know if they've done any past that. But still, it's an interesting idea of doing crossovers that are not super egregious, I guess.
I think what they did for 2015 was that was probably that Star Trek Green Lantern one.
Yeah, and then they also did a Danger Girl G.I. Joe one. Then many years ago, they did. This was one of the ones where they published it, but Marvel's on board. They did Transformers: New Avengers. They were at one point supposed to do. I want to say it was Transformers and Justice League, but that never came about. There's also a Star Trek and Legion of Superheroes crossover.
Really?
Other DC things. That one actually makes sense because Legion of Superheroes is superheroes in the far future Star Trek-y land type thing.
All right.
Okay, I think I found the greatest one.
Oh?
Mars Attacks Popeye.
I feel I've heard about that one.
Also Mars Attacks Kiss, but I think Mars Attacks Popeye wins out on
Yeah, that one sounds pretty incredible.
Also, apparently, I didn't know IDW had the rights to this, but Cartoon Network Super Secret Crisis War. Which is, looking at the cover, Ben 10, Dexter's Lab, Samurai Jack, the Powerpuff Girls, and Ed, Edd and Eddy.
I think the only one of those that I knew that they did stuff was, I think they did some. I think I have seen them do Powerpuff Girls stuff.
I knew they did Samurai Jack.
Okay.
That was kind of a big deal before. Like, hey, Samurai Jack's getting more stuff, and now the cartoon's actually coming back.
Yeah, I heard about that.
That's just Powerpuff Girls, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, I think the Powerpuff Girls is like different voice cast at least. Hey, I finally caught up with you.
Yeah, I think me moving to the next map forced you to drug you along. So I found myself thinking today and being saddened again that we never got the Powerpuff Girls Z anime brought over here, even though it actually has an English dub.
Yeah, for the Philippines or whatever.
Philippines. Like, it's great that they got it. Don't get me wrong, but it's not only is it an English dub, but it's an English dub by like an actual North American dubbing company.
Yeah, isn't like
it's Ocean Group.
Ocean Group or something like that?
It's Ocean Group, which, like, yeah, don't get me wrong, I think it's great, but I wish we had gotten that. I wish we had gotten that, and I'm sad that we didn't.
Seems weird that we didn't in some fashion. Like, not necessarily TV broadcasts, but
it's
streaming.
Weird. It's weird in two different ways, because like the first one is it's got an English dub by Ocean Group. And it's not like Ocean Group is like an unknown, like lesser dubbing company. Like, for the longest time, they were one of the big.
Yeah, they did.
They were one of the big crews, and they
were the first guys to do Dragon Ball Z.
No, they were the second.
Gun. First ones to do Z. Dragon Ball was.
Are you sure?
If I'm being pedantic.
All right.
Yeah, they were. And what's funny is after Funimation took over for Buu Saga or Cell Saga, I don't know if they went to Buu Saga. Apparently, they kept doing the dub to be aired in, like, I don't know if it was just Canada or like the UK or something like that, but there are bits of a Ocean Group dub of Dragon Ball Z of like the Cell Saga.
Okay.
Which is funny because it leaves Scott McNeil, who voiced Piccolo, joking that they kept hiring him back to, redo something that had already been done like 3 times. Not that he was going to complain because they were still paying him.
But yeah, that was the first reason I think it's weird. But the second reason is that it's still a Cartoon Network property. Like, they had the show made. Their stuff is on the show, and that they decided to not like do the rest of the work to bring it over it still strikes me as weird. Especially
I'm assuming they were smart enough to, when they were designing getting the contracts done for the show, to like not leave legal loopholes to where they wouldn't have rights to it.
Yeah, and
because I know they did Big O the second season of Big O back in the day, and even though they don't have the rights to air the first season anymore, they own part of the second season, which means they can show it whenever they want.
And again, like, if they did the work to have a proper English dub done, like, why not release it on DVD or something?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Then again, like, they also premiered the most recent Transformers cartoon at like 6:30 in the morning on Saturdays, so... Which makes no sense to me, because what kid is going to wake up at 6:30 in the morning on Saturdays? And we're going to be on different maps again, aren't we?
Probably.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh well.
It's fine so long as the map works and I don't have to, like, exit out and go back in again.
Then you have to step your way through the entire story once again.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we won't have to do that. Hopefully it'll just... Oh, whatever. If we end up on different maps again, then we'll just carry on.
It's not a big deal.
We'll just carry on like we have been. Yeah, like I don't... Yeah, I don't know what's going on. This is getting kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. They're doing it to get us. Like, us specifically.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, we're on
Yeah,
different
maps. Alright, well. You have my reinforcements, and let's just carry on.
I wonder if they ever will, like, tell a definitive Borg origin story in relation to this game.
In relation to this game? Oh, probably not.
Yeah. I figure at some point, like, assuming the game goes long enough, things will swing back around to where the Borg become the main villains again.
Yeah. And like, with the current state of the story, I think that's going to end up being kind of an interesting story to tell as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, because if they go to want to bring like the Borg to be a much more serious thing, like we have ties with the collective now, and that's actually going to be kind of interesting. Or the cooperative, same thing.
Same exact thing, only, the opposite.
Yeah.
I was going to be disappointed if we didn't encounter any Borg here, though. I mean, not necessarily, like, specifically Borg, but at least something related to the Borg.
Mm-hmm. But
thinking, I guess an origin to the Borg might be one of those things they don't let them do either.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that this is one of those things where Cryptic is working with what they've got.
Mm-hmm.
So they're probably just going to let it slide and be vague until such a time
I know the novels were able to do one.
It's probably not a matter of
weird.
Cryptic not being allowed to. It's probably just a matter of the way they have chosen to handle like their story. They probably just feel that it's not something that is worth them putting the time into.
Yeah, I suppose it could also be the thing where like Wolverine's origin story, which turned out to be crap. And we were probably better off not ever knowing.
Yeah.
That, or even kind of the origin of the Borg that the novels did. From whatever I should say, from what I read about it, having not actually read the novels.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, in terms of what Cryptic does, in terms of if you look at what Cryptic has done with their storytelling and how they want to bring the story of this game and theoretically of this universe forward, like, what does telling the origin of the Borg really do at this state?
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to change it's not going to change anything about the way the Borg are presented in this game. There's no point in them going into that, like, having that time and effort. I mean, it would be interesting, but if they're going to be doing like speculative stuff on that scale, like, I think there's some more interesting ones that they want to get into.
Yeah. Let me know when you're ready to move on. Just so
I already started going into the next map.
Oh, okay, cool. So we should end up together in this
Hopefully. But if you didn't get the notice to go... Oh, nope, there you are.
Yay. It's funny that it's every other map.
Yeah. But that seems to be a consistent thing that we can keep track of, though.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly a whole bunch of SARS.
Shotgun time. Lizards. I like how she admits that we destroyed her ship, yet she still wants to fight us.
Yeah.
Just reminded of that one encounter in Dragon Age where the guy's like, people willingly attack you? They must be stupid. And guess what? We won.
We beamed her to the brig. Of course, that's just...
Of course, I like to call it the Agni booth.
Yeah, you would.
Mm-hmm. Search your feelings. You must know. You already know what you must do. And then you focus your anger at it, and lightning happens.
Yep.
Someone's gonna get sued. It's funny because that just clicked on me. Oh my god, I just did figure it out. She really is a Sith Lord.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my god, that really was Korriban.
I guess we're gonna split up again.
Sorry, I don't know if I'm like annoyed at myself that it took me that long to get it or not. I mean, let's be honest. I really would, go to the dark side like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you would.
I would.
Yeah, let's just say that this is interesting. Maybe a little long, but interesting.
Interesting. And a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Probably not. Probably not. I imagine it's been up this long.
Yeah, I don't think that this is...
And it really doesn't hurt either side financially.
Yeah.
Also, they're being very, very careful to not say anything specific.
Yeah, it's vague enough. I mean, other than just straight up having Q when they're not supposed to.
Well, yeah, that would get CBS after them, which is less bad than getting Disney after them.
And then honestly, like, all CBS would do is just have the mission like denied.
Yeah, and I have a feeling either they're not aware of it, or it got vetted. This isn't like this isn't in the review content thing. I have to feel like that's the one crossover that would never actually happen. On the other hand, a Doctor Who Star Trek crossover also felt like it would never actually happen.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I don't think Star Wars has ever crossed over with anything. Like, officially. And not... I'm not kind of like Disney Infinity and crap.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say... You know what? You're probably right, but it's not like Star Wars hasn't had weird things already.
Yeah, but they've never done... they've never done time travel. Oh, I should say they've never done overt reverse time travel.
Alright.
They did one comic storyline where a character from the Old Republic era got, cryogenically frozen and woke up in the Rebellion era. It also involved Rakghouls because...
Well, yeah.
Why the hell
Of course
not?
it would. Why wouldn't it?
But it's also never really... There's been a few, what if alternate universes, but it's not like Star Wars has a mirror universe.
Yeah, they just have a mess of a Prime universe.
Not anymore.
No, not anymore. For the most part.
I guess actually in that aspect they do have an alternate universe now. But
yeah. Star Wars canon is kind of a mess.
Yeah, but I mean, it's inevitable if you had that much stuff going for that many years.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess there are technically two Star Wars universes now. So that other one can have a Star Trek crossover.
Yeah, clearly.
Because no one cares anymore. I do like the intention of the current way that's going is they have a group to vet stuff to be canon. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, I know that will eventually kind of fall apart with all the stuff they're putting out.
Yeah. Okay. If you hadn't have already picked it up before, there is a scene which makes it very blatant.
I haven't gotten there yet. I'm still fighting Klingons. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you probably saw what I was talking about.
Her sitting in the chair in the middle of the thing.
Oh, there's that, but there's another one, like, very shortly after that. I wonder if they could have chosen a better chair, though.
They could have chosen a more ornate chair.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, there it is.
Oh, I just came across another one that makes it really blatant.
The fact they're calling them hyperspace roots.
No, although that's all. I missed that one, but yeah, that. All right, finally reached the end. All right, that was all right.
This is amusing as hell. I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, I didn't say it was bad. I'm just saying, like, if you didn't already pick up what it is they were talking about, they make it real clear. Real clear.
Oh, good. They do give you the cool.
Which one's that?
Oh, just the fact they give you an option to train.
Oh, yeah.
With the Sith Lord.
Of course.
And I, of course, said
yes.
yes.
Yeah, of course you did.
And I think it fucked up again.
Well, that was an interesting mission.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
I think that one might have stood to have maybe been broken down into, like, multiple parts.
Given we're probably over an hour at this point.
Oh, yeah, we definitely are.
And from what I read, there is apparently another one. They said it was in beta. I don't know if it's since made it out, but...
Yeah, you know what? In fact, like, I think at that point where you go to another... Like, when you go to Donatu, like, I think that would have actually been a pretty decent spot to just break it into two right there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I kind of enjoyed that one.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, it got real goofy right there at the end. I kind of like that.
Doubles down on the goofiness.
What's that?
I said I hope it doubles down on the goofiness. if there really is another one.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Give me a lightsaber.
I mean
a laser sword.
Well, I mean, no, it's a Nano Edge.
Yes.
A Nano Edge. Well, I guess just the Nano Edge sword. I was trying to remember the name of the sword that we have in the game already. The Falchion.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I've already got some Like I got the Nano Pulse Edge. There you go. Nano Pulse Edge Lurpa and Bat'leth. When they originally released those weapons, they were given to you by a Ferengi which was dressed up like Yoda.
Nice.
Yeah. Because of course. Of course.
Yeah, that was amazing.
But anyway,
I mean, stupid as hell, but amazing.
Yeah. But anyway, that'll be it for us for this week. So we'll see you all next time.
And until next time, may the Force be with you.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.